This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Tim Walmsley. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Excellent. Well, actually, here in Australia, it's a beautiful, clear, sunny day.
That's wonderful. You are in my future, my friend. How does it look?
Yeah, it's perfect. I live on the Gold Coast, so it's a nice sort of 30 degrees Celsius and clear skies.
That's wonderful. Well, Tim, you do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history.
Yeah, well, I think it's because I'm an entrepreneur. So I guess the skill of that is ideation and how you break down a complex problem and turn it into a solution and then execute it. So I guess that's my skill of why I'm here.
I say bench on.
That's it. The wave of the future.
Well, do unpack what BenchOn is for our listeners, please.
Sure. So BenchOn solves employee underutilization. So when businesses are in a bit of a lull and there's not enough work on, they tend to have expensive staff sitting on the bench. So what our system does is it's a business talent sharing platform that allows businesses to earn revenue when they really need it by loaning out their staff to other non-competing businesses that need specialist support.
Where were you when you got this idea?
So I was working as an executive in defence industry, and I just saw too many good people losing their jobs and great businesses shutting down because of this problem to not do something about it. So we solved it.
That's amazing. So who did you learn that ability from, that ability to care deeply?
I think it came from my time in the military. I'm a retired Army major, and as part of being in the military, they teach you to not take anything at face value and to really break down each problem individually and look at all the facts and then come up with the right solution. So it just teaches you never to accept things the way that they are.
That's amazing. I interviewed Amy Selgami recently, and she is an engineering type mind, but she paints on water, and she said a very similar thing. Like, it's about finding another way to get the thing that needs to get done. And I think you've done that here. This is amazing. So I mean, like, what's the ticket item for something like this? Is it really expensive, or who really funds the cost of it? Is it the end user or the company?
Yeah, so we set it up to be a win-win for everyone. So it's free to sign up and start using BenchOn, and it's free to source specialist support when you need it. So if you need a project manager or a developer or something, that's free for you to find them through our platform. I mean, you still have to pay them,
of course,
what they're worth, but the way that we make money is the company supplying the person pays us a percentage of the contract cost. But we only get paid for that after they've been paid for the work. So there's no upfront cost to impact the cash flow of that business.
Well, that's amazing. This is well done.
Yeah.
I love this. This is amazing. I love it. So the best place for people to connect with this is?
It's at benchon.com. So benchon.com.
Well, do tell me, Tim, what's one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years?
Yeah, so one sort of habit I've got into, because I actually started this business 3 years ago, the habit I got into to survive through that is that I schedule every single day from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. And the reason that I do that is, one, as an entrepreneur running a startup, you've got far too much work on than you can actually cope. So you need to actually block time out to allocate to each task. But secondly, what I found is that it removes a lot of the anxiety that we get as entrepreneurs, because it gives me a good appreciation that this week I'm going to get everything done that I need to get done because I've allocated time to it. Cool. And so it takes that fear and that anxiety away, which allows me to operate at a sort of a higher frequency, I guess.
Any secret apps that you use to do that scheduling?
Not really. I just sit there every Sunday night. I sit down with my Outlook calendar and plan out the whole working week until the Friday night.
Sweet. Do you rest on Saturdays?
Saturday is my rest day. Sunday is my prep day.
Sweet. How does it make you feel looking back at what you've accomplished by doing that? How does it make you feel today?
It feels good. It's certainly I've certainly grown as a professional during that time, because it's every day as an entrepreneur is outside your comfort zone. But the one thing I need to improve on is celebrating the small wins. You know, I tend to as soon as we achieve something, go, yeah, great. Oh, finally that's done. All right, what's next? And I don't stop and sort of appreciate where we're at or how far we've come.
There are many small startup entrepreneurs that listen to the podcast. Why would you suggest to them that they do what you've done by, setting that prep time, putting in the plans, and then taking action behind it?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that, particularly from me coming from a military background where everything was laid out to me, I had, all I had to do was follow the bouncing ball, and then you become the sort of CEO of your own business, and there's no manual, there's no process, there's no one telling you what you have to do next. So I think this is a really good way to get your mind clear, and then to set up a sequential plan on how you're going to achieve that. And like I said, to me, it took away a lot of the anxiety that I was experiencing early on, which can be crippling.
Amazing audience. Again, you're hearing it live from Tim Walmsley. He is the CEO of BenchOn. You can connect there at benchon.com. An amazing idea. Definitely love it. Tim, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me now invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Tim, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Actually, my earliest childhood memory is me as a 2-year-old sitting in the front seat of my parents' Mercedes. They had one of those, an old automatic Mercedes. And I thought it would be fun to put all of the coins from the coin tray into the gearbox slot. And it was fun for me at the time, but you can imagine my mum's expression when she got into the car and tried to reverse it, and the gearbox would not move. Yeah.
How old do you think you were in that memory?
Yeah, I think I was about 2, because I was in a nappy at the time, so maybe even before 2. And strangely enough, I don't know why I was sitting in the front seat of the car, but back then, I guess child seat weren't a big thing.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
I think it was firstly, as you got older, and I realized now as an adult what I did, I feel so bad for my parents that I destroyed their Mercedes. But secondly, I think it was just, I went off on my own. I did something I really liked doing without thinking about the consequences. And, it just sort of, whatever reason, it just stuck in my head.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
Maybe it's the fact that I, if I see something that I think needs to be done, I just crack in and do it without sort of thinking it over too much, maybe. Or maybe that's a bad thing. I'm not sure.
It's pretty amazing. So I'm like, all right, so can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
Sure.
So I'm really a bit lost with this one, right? But this is what I usually say around this time in the podcast, right? But I'm intrigued though that in the process of gear shifting, if you would, which is like moving from first to second to third to fourth to sometimes fifth to sometimes now even sixth, right? But I'm really intrigued that with a business, it's very similar. So we shift through gears with our employees, with our staff, and sometimes there are times when we get stuck, right? Like you do right now, and you have that individual now. You found a way to let them make change while they're in the stuck mode. That's the best I could do, my friend.
I'll work with that. That's good.
All right, Tim. Well, if we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Actually, it's still my favorite song. It's "Creep" by Radiohead.
Sweet.
That was sort of the anthem of our generation as we sort of came through, and it's stuck with me ever since.
All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Tim?
I'm ready.
Tim, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
I've got 2 children, ages 5 and 8.
Wow. Do you believe in God?
No.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes, definitely.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
Or
A
what,
couple
3
hours
hours
at
a
night
week?
to switch my head off.
All right, all
Yeah.
right, all right. A couple hours. So yeah, so we're looking at like about 14 hours a week, possibly.
Yeah, that's about right.
All right. What about screen time? The phone and the computer. Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Yeah, this is my downfall, and I'm not happy about it. But yeah, my screen time is way up. It's more than 3 hours a day.
All right. Well, I said 8 actually. Is it more than 8
Oh,
or less than 8?
no, it wouldn't be more than 8. No.
Okay. All right, Tim, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Tim Walmsley, what would you say that is?
The thing I always say often, or the most, is that's the way it's always been done, is a red flag that you must immediately investigate and innovate.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Tim, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No, I really appreciate you having me on. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
My friend, it's been a ton of fun for me. A ton of fun. Tim Walmsley, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazon Enterprise.